Hello students, today we are going to learn module 2 of the age of industrialization. In the first module we have learned about the proto-industrialization, the four phases of the industries, revolution, how was the world before the industrial revolution. So in this module we will learn about the life of the workers. The abundance of labor in the market affected the life of workers. As news of possible job traveled to the countryside, hundreds trammed to the cities. Tram means the workers rushed towards the cities to get the job. The actual possibility of getting a job depended on existing networks of friendship and keen relation. But if you had a relative or a friend in a factory, you were more likely to get a job quickly. Not everyone had a special connections or the social connection. Many job seekers had to wait weeks, spending nights under the bridges or in the night shelters. Some stayed in the night refuges that were set up by the private individuals. Can you see this picture? It is a shadow of a railway construction work. The fear of unemployment made workers hostile to the introduction of the new technology. So when the spinning jenny was introduced in the woolen industry, women who survived on hand spinning began attacking the new machines. This conflict over the introduction of the jenny continued for a long time. So this is a picture of the spinning jenny. Spinning jenny was invented by James Hargreaves in 1764. Who is this? He is James Watt, who patented the steam engine, and the person you can see here is Thomas Newcomen, who invented the steam engine. So here is the picture of the steam engine. Can you see the two different models? A little bit change and the improvement in this. Life of the workers. This is how messy the life of the workers. In the search of the work, they used to move from one place to another. Hundreds trammed to the cities. The actual possibility of getting the job depended on the existing networks and the friendship with keen relation. Means if the workers have any of the relative or the friend in the particular factory, they will get the job more quickly. Now, can you see this painting? This is a painting made by Samuel where he represented the houseless and the hungry workers. The age of Indian textiles. Let's see about this. Before the age of machine industries, silk, cotton goods from India dominated the international market in the textile. Coarser cotton means the rough and non-refined cotton, were produced in many countries, but the finer varieties often came from India. American and Persian merchants took the goods from these markets. Surat on the Gujarat coastal connected India to the Gulf and the Red Sea ports. Masulipatam on the Coromandel coast and Hooghly in the Bengal had a trade link with these countries. The European companies gradually gained power, first securing a variety of concession from the local courts, then the monopoly rights. Monopoly of trade means here the single seller will be there and he will set the price in the market to gain more profit. This resulted in the decline of the old ports of Surat and Hooghly through which the local merchants had operated. Exports from these ports fell dramatically. The credit that had financed the earlier trade began drying up, and the local bankers slowly went bankrupt in the last, and they were not having any capital or money with them. This is a scene of the English factory at Surat at 1700s. While Surat and Hooghly decayed, Bombay and Calcutta grew into a new port city. The new ones was an indicator of the growth of colonial power. Trade through the new ports came to be controlled by European companies and was carried in the European ships. This is a scene of Bombay harbour where the ship used to come. What happened to the weavers? Let's see the conditions of the weavers. The consolidation of the East India Company power after the 1760 did not initially lead to a decline in the textiles exports from India. British cotton industry had not yet expanded and Indian fine textile were in great demand in European markets. The company was keen on expanding textile exports from India. It appointed a paid servant called Gumastas. Gumastas are the supervisors who collect the supplies and examine the quality of the cloth from the weavers. Those who took loans had to hand over the cloth to this Gumastas so that this Gumastas can supply the ready cloth to the company. This is a weaver who is working at Gujarat. Manchester came to India. In 1772, Henry Patulio that the demand of Indian textile could never reduce since no other nation can produce goods of the same quality. Cotton weavers in India thus faced two problems. The first is at the time of the export market collapsed and the local market shrank. Being glutted with the Manchester imports produced by machine at the lower cost, the imported cotton goods were so cheap that the weavers could not easily compete with them in the 1850s. So these are the two problems that the weavers of the Indian faced. The weaver faced a new problem. They could not get the sufficient supply of the raw cotton of the good quality. When the American Civil War broke out and the cotton supplies from the US were cut off, Britain turned to India as raw cotton exports from India. This increased the price of raw cotton, shot up. Weavers in India were starved of supplies and forced to buy raw cottons at exorbitant price. In this situation, weaving could not pay. Factories in India began production, flooding the market with the machine goods. How could the weaving industry possibly survive now? So these are some of the industry that have been developing in India. Let's see the factories come up. In 1854, it was the year when Mumbai got its first cotton mill. Bombay Spinning Mill, famous for producing cotton textile to be exported to Britain. By 1870s, there were about 13 mills and by 1875, the total count of the mills in Mumbai was about 70, which still went up by 83 by 1915. The Allegan mill was started in Kanpur in 1860s. This is a scene of the first cotton mill in the Bombay. The jute mill came up in Bengal, the first being set up in 1855. The early entrepreneurs, who were the early entrepreneurs and the traders who set up the industry, let's know about them. In Bengal, Dwarka Nath Tagore made his fortune in China trade before he turned towards the industrial investment. Seth Hukum Chand, a Marwari businessman who set up the first Indian jute mill in Calcutta in 1917, also traded with China. So did the father as well as the grandfather of the famous industrialist G.D. Birla. So now we have came to entrepreneurs who set up the industries in India. How was the condition of the weavers? What were the problems faced by the weavers? The quality of the cotton produced in India was famous throughout the world. So in the next module, we will see where did the workers came from and who headed them.